when it comes down lower, the wheel could move and it can be slightly different. So we need to do that. We also probably need to just bend these tags a little, so they're in a little bit like that, and obviously we need to take this burnt plastic off the tags so that when we put them on, they're on for keeps. We also need to pull the plastic off just there, and that's all the work that we're going to do. Normally we wouldn't be putting these wings on until very late on in the build, but we need to put them on there for the video, so we will put them on. And what will probably happen is that we'll put them on with just ordinary self-tapping screws. Every 1, 2, 3, 4, every 5 screws, every 5 holes we'll put a self-tapping screw in. And there is wing piping that you get in your kit, I think, that goes between the wing and the body, and it does, oh, we've got some just here, and it does finish off looking really neat, and it does look far superior to our competitors that have plastic wings. And of course the cost of replacement, that's a tadpole beading, that section, that goes in between the wing and the body, and looks really neat. So the lads are going to do that on both wings, taking the plastic off first and fixing it every 5 holes, then putting the tadpole beading in, then obviously going around and putting a screw in every single hole. We see no reason why you can't use ordinary self-tapping screws for this. Those of you who are perfections, or perhaps engineers, proper engineers, they might want to put nuts and bolts. Then we might even get some people that are really want to be more the royal than the king themselves, and might want to use riv nuts. But I think for this exercise, these lads will be quite happy using ordinary self-tapping screw. We come now to the fly screen components. I'll just remind you, you do get these in the kit for a budget build, but if you don't like the idea of the fly screen, you want the full works, then we can supply an assembled windscreen for you to fit on. But this is obviously low cost, and it does work quite effectively. We need to bend the aluminium, so the plastic side up, we put that on there because we need to bend that at 90 degrees. So we put it with the perforated edge on the edge of the angle like that, and we put another piece of angle on there. Michael's coming to the rescue by helping me, and I think Paul's going to shoot the other side and put the vice grips on there. So we're just going to bend this over, wind that up. I'll just grip it, that's good. Got it? Yep. So we're just going to tap this over, very easy to go. It's only aluminium. So that's that tapped over. So we've got that now. We've got to take the plastic off this, peel it all off, and probably sand it down. Eventually we'll paint it a corresponding colour, a contrasting colour. Yellow to match the wings, or black to match the rollover bar, or blue to match the wishbones. So, but now we're going to try it on the car. Okay, you will need to draw a centre line on top of the scuttle. Which is easy because we've got that centre mark there. And we do need to place it with the hole, the centre hole, on that line like that. And we know that we've got a little bit of a problem to start with because it isn't flat. So we know we've got to slightly try to bend it. Now, there are several ways we can do this. We can actually just get it on our knee, and we can just gently bend it slightly along there like that, or we could put it on a little bit of an anvil and we could planish it. If we planish that all the way along with a hammer, it would actually stretch the metal and we'd get a slight curve in it, enough to accommodate the curve that we've got in the scuttle. So that's two ways that we're going to do that. But I'm going to try the simplest way. Could you just pass me a blue crate, please? I'm going to try the simplest way of just bending it over the knee very, 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 very gently, and hope that it's going to go. Remember that it'll go all of a sudden if we go close to the holes. So we're going to get it in the area away in the middle of the holes, and we're going to just very gently pull it. I can just felt it go, just a little bit, and I think that that is all it needs. Remember, you could do this exercise with a little bit of scrap first to see whether it works. Oh, I've just felt it go. This is exciting. Just a little bit of a pull like that. Yeah, just felt it go. If you spend £4,000, you can get it's called an neck-rolled shrinking stretching machine that classic car restorers use. But this, that's gone too much. Oh, so annoying. So you can get it back a little bit. That one just went a little bit too much just there. Trying to get it back. Anyway, where I'm coming from now is that we've just got to be very gentle with this and see if we can form it. Just to follow the shape of the scuttle. And look at that, that's coming on great. That's coming on quite well. So that's what we'll do. Sorry, go this way around. Oh, yeah, that way around. So that looks like we're going to get away with that. That's going to follow the scuttle quite well. Remember, you can planish it a little bit. So once you've decided that you've got the shape right, then you can see where we're coming from now. We're just going to form it like that. And tell me, cameraman, is the bottom of that pillar level with the seam in the body?
Yes.
It is. So that's what we're looking for. That's going to hug that, because this is more of a cosmetic thing than anything else. Those of you that didn't want to go to all this trouble could just use a little bit in the middle. That was just put it just there in front of the driver and have a little bit of a fly screen there. But we're aiming for this to look neat, and we're aiming for it to be colour contrasted. We may also want to bend that over 90 a little bit so that the plastic's got a rake on it. So if you just pass me the other bit, then I can explain exactly what happens. What happens then is that this piece, a secondary piece, goes on top of that, and when you line the holes up, it it leaves a gap in between, as you can see there, and that is what we put a perspex in. So the perspex goes in between the two, and then we drill through the holes that's there and put the perspex on in between the two, and then that final one goes on top as a finisher. And obviously the final one is a similar shape to the scuttle. And that goes on top, and then that gives us the finished off windscreen. So these lads are going to sand this up now and prime it, and we're going to have it the same as the roll. We're going to have it satin black.
Right, we've got the other side, the other wing on, the passenger side, and we've got it set 50mm down here from the top of that roll bar plate point. We've got a nice even gap there at the front, an equal even gap at the rear there, which tells us that we need to chop a certain amount off the bottom here. So I'm just going to put a mark on there, level with the bottom of the car, on the wing, mark it underneath the yellow wing there, which will tell us, which will give us a datum point where we need to trim it off for the stone yard to go on.
So I'll just explain that at the same time, I'm holding this panel here is level with the underside, just to get a straight edge under there to be level, and as you can see it's coming just around about, just at the turning point of this bend here, this corner here, and then we're just going to even up the gap here, as Michael's already explained, between your front here and your tyre, and same, the back and the front, and you can trim off any excess as we've already explained to you. So that's what we're going to do now.
Right, as you can see, there's the two marks that we gained from offering the wing up to the car. So what we're going to do is put a straight edge along there, draw a line on, and that's what we need to trim off. So we're going to take the snips,
We're going to hold it into position here on the mark we've previously put on, and we've got it level with the bottom of the floor panel here. I'm going to take the black marker, mark through the first hole, first tab. Make sure you've got the pen nice and parallel. Then we can move that, and we can drill with maybe a 3mm drill. Come back in position. Put yourself a little self-tapped screw in. Again, we're just going to use the little black screws here. Can be quite tricky. Just have to persevere with it. Again, we're not going to tighten that up, we're just going to hold that in position there. So as you can see, we've got a nice gap on the front and the back, and we're just going to have to eye it up as best you can to try and get a nice even shape to it. I think I'm getting the drum now, can I, Michael? Okay. So we're going to go every 5 holes. I'm just going to put a little screw here, about that high, to start with. So as you can see, pretty well following the contour of this bend here as well, and we've got it level with the floor. Trying to keep the gap the same front and the back, which that's pretty good to me. So I'll put a screw, a hole in the very lowest tabs on the front there, if I can. Now I've got 2 or 3 screws in, just temporarily holding that. So now you know that your wheel arch is definitely in the position you want it to. You've got a nice level gap. We've now jacked up the car using the spreader plate. Remember to use the spreader plate on the back if you haven't already fixed it into position. So take the wheel off. Now coming with the tadpole bleeding at the area.
Where's the screw? Wherever you fix, wherever you've got a screw, you need to put a slit in it so that it'll slot down past the screw. So we'll take it a little bit by and then trim it off after. So we'll put a slit up there like so. And that'll allow you to get it over the screw that you've already put through.
So slot it down and feed that in. You see that I've also got
Slacken that one up a little bit.
So you may just need to slacken your screws off a little just to be able to feed it round.
Right in there.
So Michael's got it, is in position.
And then once it's in, the time to screw up again to hold it.
So once you've got it tight on that, you can see that
The next one's about there.
there's going to be another screw here, so we'll just take it out again, give it a slit yet again, just there, and then feed that round the screw.
But what you need to do is you're better off checking the V out because it's actually folding over itself. So we'll do that.
feeding the beading round. We've also got another screw again here, so I'm just going to put another one in. It's all built in there. Okay. You just do it off a little bit more. Pull it back down. Right, so I've got the last screw that's down here. Push your beading up now, got to the end and tighten up the existing screws we've already got in. Keep that nice and tight. That'll hide the join, you're not be able to even see the join once you've finished with that. So, that's pretty good. So once we're pretty happy we've got it exactly where we want it, we can now go around all the tabs and screw it in position. You can just drill through the rubber and everything, and that'll load everything all together. And once you've done that, you can then trim this beading off to the length that you require. And as you can see, we've got a nice gap all the way around the wheel. We've also got maybe an inch, 20 mil, something like that, sticking out past the wheel, and it all looks good. As we explained before, if you've got slightly different wheels, they may be sat further in, and once you've tried your wing on like this is why we've only got the few temporary screws in. Once you've tried your wing on, if you find that your wing's sticking miles out, you may want to just cut a little strip off the aluminium. You'll obviously have to take your arch back off and adjust it as the same procedure that Richard explained to you earlier, and put it all back together in exactly the same manner. Try it on again, and once you're happy, you can then move on to taking your stone guard. Try that on. Just roll it around the arch like that, up to your beading. Have a look down the edge to make sure it's running at the same angle as your wing. This one is perfect. So once you've done that, take marker, just put a mark on there. And as we explained earlier, you can put maybe a couple of rivets just in the aluminium and through your GRP to hold it in position, maybe even 4 even spacers. And your stone guard beading will then cover that when you come to put your stone guard beading on. At the same time, taking the Y, just tried it on. I've measured up from this point here, 250mm to the top. I've then run a straight line across with just a piece of strip. Eye it up. You want that to be level, parallel with your car. It's a good idea to maybe set your car up, make sure you've got it sitting flat on the ground, make sure it's all level with a spirit level first. And then you can use your strip, make sure it's level with your car. once you've got your first line on there, and you try it on, make sure it's all looking nice, you can then just draw around your line. Once you've got your outline, you need to be putting holes corresponding to the 4 holes here. So what I've done is I know that that's 20mm down and 20mm in. I've started there with that hole. Same with the other top hole here. Then measured the distance from the top hole to the bottom hole, and that's a marker put there. And I know that again is 20mm in there, so I've done that there. Then took the distance from the hole to hole there, which I think is 150mm, so I've marked that on again, and we've come with 4 holes. You're also going to need a clearance hole for your cables and everything to come through, and that is in the exact centre of your light, so I've done that there. Once you've done that, you can assume that you can see your edge here again with the aluminium strip, so you want to be coming in, I don't know, 5-10mm, something like that. I'm going to put maybe 2 or 3 more rivets in there, the small rivets again. So once you've done all that, making sure you're not going to be in the way of any other things that's stuck on your lights or anything, you can then proceed to put your rivets in, both there and where your stone guard beading's got, stone guard's going to sit.
With the standard lightweight kit, you don't get a full glass windscreen. All you get is a component for a fly screen. That's 3 aluminium bits and some perspex that you cut to shape. Pretty definite a lot of you will want to push the boat out at a later date, or even to buy the kit and buy the glass windscreen. There's several complications. One is that it does take a little bit of fitting, and secondly you do need to rig a wiper motor up, and also you need demisters for the SVA test. With this fly screen you don't need any demisters, you don't need wipers, and it will get you through the test. Bear in mind that it's pretty definite that if you like the car, or your wife likes the car, she's going to demand a full-blown windscreen at a later date. So we don't want to be putting a lot of holes in this that are going to be exposed afterwards when you swap to the new screen. Obviously, if you use the car for track days, you'll find the fly screen adequate. So where I'm coming from is this budget windscreen frame, this racing frame that we've now painted matte black. We'll put it in the place where the windscreen goes. So if we've got holes in the then they'll be covered up at a later date. So from the very front of the scuttle, we need to mark a centre line, which is 7 inches approximately. And we've got 2 marks, kind of 1 inch forward and 1 inch back. So in between there, we need to put the fly screen frame on. So you can see we've sanded it down, we've painted it black. It could have been silver, it could have been yellow, it could have been blue. We've done it black, really, so it stands out. And you'll see that there's 3 holes already in it. 1, 2, 3. They're just a suggestion, we'll need more in it. But the centre one is quite important because the centre one will line up with the centre line that we put on the scuttle. So we put that on there dead, and we put it so the centre of it is at 7 inches. And that will go on there, and we'll fasten that down with small screws. We'll probably use, we could put black screws so you wouldn't see them, or we could emphasise it and put canyon plated screws on. So the main thing is that you can see that that comes down, and that finishes nicely, and it should, the way we've designed it, run parallel with the seam to the body to look correct, and it does give you that correct triangle here that this type of car needs to make them look authentic. So this is something that is quite important, and it does look really good. Depending on how well you can get that frame to hug the scuttle, you can decide whether or not you need to supplement it with some beading that will go around there. But to be truthful, if you can get that to hug the scuttle quite well, that I'm sure these lads are going to do now, then you wouldn't need anything else but that. So I'm going to get these lads now to carry on now and to fasten that onto there now so it hugs the scuttle. We've already, remember, we've bent it a little bit across there to get it to sit nicely around the contour. And we're trying to get it down there so it hugs the scuttle. We're going to leave the plastic on at this stage because we don't want to mark the scuttle. So we'll leave the plastic on underneath there. So the lads will do that as one of the next jobs. We're going to move to the back wing now. So if I could just have a stone guard, I'm going to go over the back of the stone guard. The stone guards are behind us. And remember, these are stainless steel. And you need just to bend them slightly. You'll see, whatever contour you've got that way, just bend them slightly to get that